Hey guys, today we get to talk all about phantom stock, which is a really cool legal technology that kind of came out in the recent past, like last 10, 15 years. So let's hop right in. Okay, so what is stock and what is phantom stock? So actual stock, traditional stock is, equity in a company. It's actual ownership in a company to where the employee would be, a co-business owner with the business owners or managers or whatever. Okay, so what comes along with that is all of these extra rights and kind of red tape and stuff that's kind of unpredictable and difficult for employers to deal with because typically if you're giving them stock and equity as part of their compensation, you got to show them all of your stuff, like your books, your numbers. You got to maybe even do some Securities and Exchange Commission registrations. Like you got to do, just all this stuff. Like they're business partners, so you got to treat them like a business partner. If they pass away, God forbid, or if they quit, what happens to those stocks? I mean, they still own them. So even if they quit working for the firm, then they're still going to be able to participate in a profit share, for example, or maybe they could sell it to a third party, to someone that you don't like, or if, God forbid, they pass away and some of their heirs inherit it, and now you've got this new business partner that you've never met. So stock is kind of a dangerous thing, I guess, both legally in terms of compliance worlds and also employment law world and practical world. So phantom stock solves all of those issues magically. So what is phantom stock? Well, hence the name. Phantom means that it's not actual real stock. What it really is a way of compensating key level employees, like rockstar employees, for their work in the business. So you might give them in phantom stock a profit share during the time that they're employed by the firm. So if the company profits by 100,000 or something in a quarter and they have 10% phantom stock, then they would get a $10,000 profit share bonus for that quarter, which would be very cool. Another thing that it usually does, just about always, is it gives them a piece of the sales price if you sell that company, which is pretty cool. So it's a lot like they own the company because they participate in the sale, but they don't actually own the company. So you don't have to do all of this other stuff and vet them and do certified filings and all these things. So what does that mean? So if you sell a company for $10 million and they have phantom stock that fleshed out as 1% of the sales price, then they're looking at a $100,000 bonus that they would get if they successfully help you, the business owner, to grow the business to that $10 million number and actually continue with the sale of it. So that would come across as a nice happy bonus for them, and it's easy peasy. It's as if they own the company when in all intents and purposes they didn't technically own the company, so you didn't have all that risk. So for the employer, if the employee quits or is terminated or God forbid passes away, you don't have to continue with the phantom stock. Because you probably wouldn't want to. If they quit, you probably wouldn't want to give them, a percentage of the sales price of the company. Or if they're fired, for cause, especially if they were stealing from you or something, you don't want to give them part of the, the sales price of the company. And you can do a profit share like we talked about earlier. For the employee, they don't have to, put this on their taxes, right? So it's a big deal if you give an employee that, let's say you give them a company that's worth $10 million and you give them 1% of it, and that's a $100,000 gain that they have to file taxes on, which means that they have to report that as income, and then they have to pay 30-40% or whatever to the feds and the state taxes, right? So they might be forking over to the feds $40,000 when they haven't received $100,000. They just received the stock, the benefit of it. So this is a very clean, novel way to prevent them from getting all of that tax liability. It's like, hey, great job, thank you for working so hard. Now I'm going to make you owe the feds 40 grand. Phantom stock works a lot better in that sense. Another thing that you can do is, like we talked about, a profit share. So you can give them, whatever the equivalent phantom stock of the business's profits. Obviously, when you pay out those bonuses, that'll come across as more expenses on your actual P&L, your profits and loss sheet that you file your taxes with, because you're going to be 10% less or whatever it is that you paid out to the employee. But again, this saves the employer, the business owner, from having to shell out profits to someone who isn't doing a good job at whatever their job is, or isn't getting along with you very well, or something like that. So anyway, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of ways to skin this cat. We've done hundreds of them. So if you're a business owner interested in talking about options with phantom stock, or regular stock for that matter, give us a shout. Happy to talk with you. Or if you're an employee and they're giving you a phantom stock or regular stock option package, happy to talk about that too. And that also reminds me, usually these are given with what's called a vesting schedule. Is that, Jonathan, like a cool vest? No, it's not a cool vest, but it is pretty cool. So vesting just means that you won't get your phantom stock rights, so your profit share or your rights against 1 to 10% of the sales price of the company, unless and until you have worked a certain amount, usually a set time, but it could also be hitting certain milestones. So if you build the company and help it to grow by like 20% in 2 years, then that's a milestone that you can easily put on mathematically, and it means that you vest and then you get your phantom stock rights. Okay, I think that's it. If you got any questions, I'm Jonathan Sparks with Sparks Law. Keep on rocking, guys.